Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here in the Tempe City Council chambers. Standing here with me today are Congressman Greg Stanton, Councilwoman Burdetta Hodge, and Councilwoman Nikki Amberg. So I greatly appreciate all of these folks being here, along with many members of our dedicated staff. So we wanted to simply talk about this Kyrene water reclamation facility. And quite honestly, we know that currently all of Tempe's wastewater is treated and it's put to beneficial use at the jointly owned 91st Avenue wastewater treatment plant. However, once Kyrene, which has been offline since the year 2010, so for over 16 years now, once that's actually reactivated, it will allow Tempe to locally treat a portion of this wastewater and produce 4.5 million gallons of reclaimed water each and every day. So I want to thank Congressman Greg Stanton and his help for securing these funds. Because of this, Tempe is going to be able to reduce the cost of reactivating Kyrene, support ongoing costs to rehabilitate, improve, and reopen the facility fully by the year 2028. So the reclaimed water produced at Kyrene will improve Tempe's drought resiliency through further diversifying our water portfolio and increasing our ability to store water in the aquifer. This project puts Tempe in an excellent position to leverage local water resources and contribute to conservation and resiliency efforts amid climate change. Tempe is really fortunate, though, to have a very diverse water portfolio. We continually and proactively plan and evaluate supplies and demands to ensure that sufficient water is available to meet our needs in the year 2026 and, of course, well into the future. But reactivating Kyrene is just one example of many that are evidenced in this commitment. Alongside my council colleagues and, of course, Congressman Stanton, I would invite each and every one of you to learn more about Tempe's water and drought preparedness plans by visiting tempe.gov/water. So once again, I'd like to thank Congressman Stanton for his continued support of our community. We look forward to our continued partnership as we work to reopen the Kyrene Water Reclamation Facility. Thank you so much. And with that said, let me see if I can bring up Craig Caggiano here for some staff remarks. As while I can simply talk about a lot of the higher end portions, I obviously would look to our dedicated staff who are really the experts in this area to speak a little bit more about what this means for the city of Tempe. So Craig, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Mayor, and thanks everyone for being here today. My name is Craig Caggiano. I'm the Deputy Water Utilities Director for the water utility. The Kyrene Reclamation Project is very important to Tempe. When reopened, reclaimed water from Kyrene can be used at nearby Salt River Project, Kyrene Generating Station, for cooling water, and can be stored in our aquifer for use in the future, as well as allow for irrigation water at the nearby Ken McDonald Golf Course. The treatment capacity is planned for up to 4.5 million gallons per day from the gravity sewer system in the nearby area around the facility, which includes a majority of the city service areas south of Guadalupe Road. Construction is currently in progress, and we anticipate bringing the plant back online in the spring of 2028. The additional $2.85 million in funding that Congressman Stanton has secured is critical in supporting the successful construction associated with this project. Delivering high-quality water and affordable wastewater services to the community is one of the highest priorities for the city of Tempe. We are thankful for Congressman Stanton's continued support of our efforts to increase Tempe's water resiliency.
Really quickly as well, thank you, Craig. I want to make sure to also welcome Vice Mayor Doreen Garland, who's also joined us this morning. And I just want to say very quickly before we bring up the man of the hour, I always talk about how critically important it is to have a partner in Washington, D.C., who was also the mayor of the city of Phoenix for 7 years and a council member before that. He clearly understands the needs of cities and towns across the entire state, and I don't think you could frankly have a better partner than Congressman Greg Stanton. So with no further ado, I'd like to turn it over to him. Congressman.
All right. Thank you, Mayor, and the council members that are here. You are my partners. Craig, thanks for your leadership for this important public utility in our community. There's no more important issue facing the state of Arizona than water these days. And in my role in Congress, when I aggressively go after community project funding, I look to my partners at the cities that I represent here in Tempe and Chandler and Mesa and Phoenix. And I look to the mayor and council what their highest priorities are. And I love working with Tempe because their highest priorities are water, public safety, affordable housing. And that's exactly when I represent you in Congress, those are exactly the type of projects that I'm going to seek important funding for. And this announcement here today, when the plant finally gets back online, is going to draw down less Colorado River water, help the overall effort in the state of Arizona to win the battle against this drought. We're here today because of smart, forward-thinking leadership of Mayor Woods and these outstanding members of the City Council, because when Arizona faces a challenge, we don't wait around for someone else to solve it. So I'm proud to be here to celebrate the latest investment in Tempe's Kyrene Water Reclamation Facility, and I want to be clear about how this project matters so much right now. Arizona is in the middle of a critical water crisis. The Colorado River is under unprecedented stress from drought and decades of overuse. Negotiations over what happens to the river after 2026 are ongoing. But I'll be honest with everyone in this room, right now those negotiations are not going well. A deadline for a state-driven agreement was missed just last month. We are fighting hard in Washington to get a fair deal for the people of Arizona, but we also have to be smart here at home. And that means not waiting to see how those negotiations shake out. That's why this particular announcement, this particular project of Kyrene facility matters so much. In 2010, the plant was taken offline, the recession hit, growth slowed, wastewater flows dropped, and the operational costs were just too high. At the time, Tempe did have enough capacity without it, but city leaders always knew this plant would be needed again. The plan was always to bring it back online. And sure enough, they were right. Post-recession growth came roaring back, development increased, wastewater flows started climbing again around 2023. The city needed to get this plant back up and running. Mayor Woods brought this facility to my attention, invited me to see it personally firsthand, and one thing became very clear. This isn't just a wastewater project, this is a water security project. Here's what I mean by that. Right now, all of Tempe's wastewater, every drop that goes down your drain gets piped 20 miles from the 91st Avenue wastewater treatment plant in Phoenix. That plant treats it and releases it back into the environment. Tempe is contractually required to send at least 20 million gallons a day, and for years that was the whole story. But Kyrene is something different. It is not a wastewater treatment plant, it is a water reclamation facility. It's purpose-built to take that wastewater and turn it into something Tempe can actually use for the people of the community. In fact, the water it produces meets or exceeds drinking water standards, and then it gets pushed directly into the aquifer beneath Tempe for storage and future recovery as drinking water for the people of this community. Once operational, Kyrene will treat an average of 4 million gallons of water per day. That water will cool equipment at SRP's Kyrene generating station and recharge Tempe's aquifer through 4 recharge wells, water that can be recovered and used for drinking water in the future. Every gallon treated at Kyrene is a gallon that reduces dependence on the Colorado River. That's the vision, and that's why the mayor and council brought it to my attention, and I went to work in Congress to make it a reality. In 2023, I was able to secure for Tempe $3.45 million through my Arizona Environmental Infrastructure Program, partnering with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to fund the facility's design and assess existing infrastructure. In 2024, I brought back another $1.89 million for Tempe's recharge wells through the Army Corps and nearly $960,000 through EPA's Clean Water State Revolving Fund for the pipelines that will carry reclaimed water from Kyrene to those wells. Last year, we secured another $1.09 million for those recharge well pipelines. And today, I'm proud to announce an additional $2.85 million for the Kyrene reclamation facility itself. All told, since 2022, I've been fortunate to be able to bring to this important project $10 million for the rehabilitation of the facility and its related infrastructure toward a total rehab cost of nearly $85 million. That's when you include the pipelines and wells beyond the plant's footprint. This is important. It's not inexpensive, but it is a critically important project for the people of Tempe and our overall statewide effort to reduce our dependence on the Colorado River. When Kyrene comes back online in the very near future, it will be a fully modernized facility, upgraded pumps, motors, control systems, and membrane technology that will operate more efficiently than ever before. And the work continues. I'm not done. I'm already working to bring home another $3.52 million to get this project up and running. This is what it looks like to build real water resilience, not hoping the Colorado River negotiations go our way, not depending on one source, investing in smart, local infrastructure that stretches every drop and protects Tempe's water future no matter what happens upstream. Arizona deserves a safe, stable community, a place where you can raise your family, build a business, and plan for the future with confidence. Water security is not some side issue. It is a foundational issue for our state. And I am grateful for partners like Mayor Woods, these great members of the City Council of Tempe who refuse to leave Tempe's water future to chance. So thank you, Mayor, for the opportunity to make this important announcement, let the people of Tempe know that what we're working on together, and I'm available to any questions on the project.
Sounds good. Thank you again, Congressman. Really appreciate it. Well, we'll actually be taking a few questions now, but once again, as we talked about earlier, we would need to sort of confine the questions to this particular subject. And if there are any members of the press that have questions about other things afterwards, we can talk to you about those items offline. So any questions about this project specifically? Yes, Bram. I think it's just critically important for us. I mean, the fact of the matter is we recognize that having diversified water resources is critically important given some of the issues that Congressman Stanton outlined. So from our perspective, whatever we can do to get a facility that cost our taxpayers a lot of money in the first place to get online, but that has been offline now since 2010, it's going to be critically important as we continue to grow as a community. We're about 194,000 people strong. Our population during the day, because we're a big net importer of jobs, swells to over 300,000 during the day, and we've got more and more people moving to the city of Tempe each and every minute, it feels like. So the reality is the more that we can do to get this water reclamation facility back online, but also to have an increased sort of diversity of water resources is going to be critically important, not just frankly in the year 2026, but for Tempe's long-term future, especially dealing with climate change that really is a very critical issue right now in front of not just the city of Tempe, but every city and town across the state of Arizona. Yeah. Oh. Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you. So for Tempe, we're very fortunate in that we have a very diverse water resources portfolio. In a typical year, about 6% of the water that we use comes from the Colorado River.
And I'll just address the broader picture right now because these negotiations are ongoing. I think our governor is doing a really good job in those negotiations. It's a challenge because the upper basin states feel like Arizona should take virtually all of any additional cuts that will be necessitated. Our position, of course, is that any cuts moving forward should be spread fairly and equally between the upper basin and the lower basin. But here's what's at stake, and the people of Arizona need to scream from the rooftops because what we have built in our community, having the most important industry for the future of our country and the future of our national defense, the semiconductor industry in the state of Arizona. We need to continue to grow that industry, not just for Arizona, but for the good of the entire United States of America and the national security for the people of this country. If we get hurt at the level that the upper basin would inevitably cause the lower basin, if they are successful in what they want in the negotiations, us taking all the cuts, that will have a tremendously negative impact on the growth of the Arizona economy. And that means the slowing of the growth of the most important industry for this country. We need to continue to grow the semiconductor industry and the manufacturing of semiconductors, a secure supply chain that gets those semiconductors into the most important military equipment that we have to defend our national security interests. That doesn't happen if some of the alternative proposals that were put forward by the department, the Bureau of Reclamation, the Department of Interior put out about a month ago, if the worst of those plans go on, that directly impacts national security for the United States. We're not messing around. These are very serious issues, and we need to make that case screaming from the rooftops. No longer can these negotiations happen behind closed doors. We need to break it out in the open so the American public know what's at stake. This is not a Southwestern issue. This is not a Arizona issue. This is an issue of national importance, and Arizona has to be successful with these water negotiations.
Thank you. Any other questions?
And I'll say really quickly, we're going to watch a video here about the project.
You know what? Let's go ahead and watch that video then. Thank you. All right. Any other questions anyone might have? All right. Oh, yes, Madeline?
Yeah, hi, Madeline from the Tempe Independent. Process of acquiring this funding.
Look, I represent Tempe, Chandler, Mesa, Ahwatukee Foothills, and I am proud to aggressively go after funding for important local projects. I believe strongly that community project funding is the way that the people who I'm standing with, people that I trust, can determine how federal dollars, their taxpayer dollars, are spent in the community. That we if we didn't aggressively go after community project funding for projects like this, it would actually be left to the Trump administration to decide how to spend that money. I think the mayor and council should be the ones given direction about how their taxpayers' dollars are spent. Because of that, because I'm so aggressive about it, of all Democrats in Congress, I had the 5th best year in terms of receiving community project funding for the communities that I represent. I mentioned earlier, I'm so proud of Tempe because of the diversity of their projects: affordable housing, support for public safety, support for water and dealing with the water challenges that we have. It's a competitive process. I need to make the strongest case possible through the appropriations process. I have to make the strongest case possible as to why these projects are so important to the community. You can imagine a project like this, is not going to get you a lot of headlines, but it's critically important for the people of Tempe now, and obviously for our effort to reduce impact on the Colorado River. So my job is to make sure that I am strategic about which projects I seek funding for, and then I make the strongest case possible through the appropriations process to get those resources. And as I mentioned, we've been very successful in my office in getting those resources for the cities that I'm lucky enough to represent.
All right, we can take one more if anyone has one. All right, seeing none, thank you so much for attending today. Thank you, Congressman Stanton, for your continued partnership, and we'll talk to you afterwards. Thank you.